You like that? All right, ready to roll? There you go. No. Here we go. All right. Welcome to the January 21st, 2025 City Council meeting. City Council chamber is 6:30 p.m. Start with the prayer. Dear God, today's the session opens. We pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction, which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Dakota?
Here.
Councilor Giccia?
Here.
Councilor Janess?
Here.
Councilor Mercia?
Here.
Councilor Nunn?
Here.
Councilor Robinson?
Here.
Mayor Rourke?
Here.
Councilor Scott?
Here.
Councilor Yem?
Here.
Councilor Belanja?
Here.
Councilor Cho?
Here. Councilor Belanja.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to do a moment of silence in darkened chambers for a lifelong Lowell resident, Howard C. Swenson Jr. Howard C. Swenson Jr., 81, died peacefully after a courageous battle with cancer on Saturday, January 18th, 2025, at his home. He was a beloved husband of Andrea M. Buckley Swenson, with whom he was married to for 42 years. He was born in Cambridge, Mass. On January 25th, 1943, and was the son of late Mary E. Martin and Howard C. Swenson Sr. Howard proudly went to serve his country in the United States Air Force, where he served during the Vietnam era. Some of his most honorable accomplishments were helping build the ascent and descent engines for the Apollo lunar module and serving at the Erickson Air Station, formerly Shima Air Force Base, located in the Alaskan Aleutian Islands. Extremely impressive. Howard was an avid fitness enthusiast, where you could frequently find a Choice Fitness right here in downtown Lowell, where he enjoyed working into his later years. He also loved reading, history, and doing his Sudoku puzzles. In addition to his wife, Andrea, Howard is survived by his children, Howard C. Swenson III of Loudon, New Hampshire, Eric Swenson of Ayer, Caroline Swenson of Virginia Beach, Carolyn M. Galati and her husband Paul of Nashua, New Hampshire, and Kyle Swenson and his wife Lauren of Borica, his numerous beloved grandchildren and great-grandchildren, his sister Sandra A. Musso, as well as many other family and friends. He was predecessed by his sister Laura M. Swenson. Calling hours will be Thursday, January 23rd from 4 to 7 p.m. at the McKenna Ouellette Funeral Home on Hildreth Street in Lowell. He will be sadly missed by friends and family. May he rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chamber for Judith A. Judy Callery Baldwin, Lowell native and loving mother, grandmother, aunt, sister, cousin, and friend. Judy was born in Lowell and was educated in the Lowell schools, attending St. Margaret's Grammar School and graduating from Keith Hall in Lowell in 1972. She went on to graduate with a bachelor's degree from Bishop's University in Quebec in 1976. Judy enjoyed a successful career in the pharmaceutical industry, first as a sales rep and later as the director of marketing, which fueled her love for travel and adventure. After returning to the Northeast in 1997, she and her family reside at a condominium in North Chelmsford until her death, where she made many more close friends with her neighbors. In retirement, she gladly accepted the position of full-time grandmother of her two granddaughters, Mackenzie and Harper, who she devoted herself to with all her heart. There was nothing that brought Judy more joy than spending time with family. There was not a dance recital, birthday celebration, nor any momentous occasion where she was not front and center. She was vivacious reader and an avid political junkie, following national, state, and especially local Lowell politics. She shared a passion for music and for the arts that she passed along to her son and her granddaughter. Judy was a true fighter and conquered 3 separate bouts with cancer, a testament to her stubborn Irish grit, her courageous spirit, her wit, and her dedication to her family and friends were an inspiration to many and were among the qualities that made Julie a truly one-of-a-kind woman. She will be missed by so many and was loved by all who had the pleasure to know her. Judy is survived by her son, Chief Financial Officer Connor Baldwin, and his wife, Sandy Boomel of Lowell. She is also survived by her beloved granddaughters, Mackenzie and Harper Baldwin of Lowell, her sister. She was predeceased by her brother, Michael. She is also survived by her longtime companion, John Jack Baldwin, an entire Baldwin family, as well as many nephews, nieces, cousins, and friends whom she loved with all her heart. We offer our condolences to her family, relatives, and many friends. Her calling hours from 9 to 11 on Wednesday, January 22nd, at the McDonough Funeral Home. I'd also like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chamber for all those who passed away since our last City Council meeting. May they all rest in peace. Thank you.
Hey, Councilor. Madam Clerk, please darken the chamber. May they rest in peace. Moving on, Mayor's Business 2.1, communication for remote Zoom participation, and motion to accept by Councilor Mercer, second by Councilor Yem. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 2.2, you have tonight, before the meeting at 5:45 this evening, got an opportunity to honor a couple of Eagle Scouts who have recently completed their journey to become Eagle Scouts, and they were here before the council meeting, but we're going to take a moment to recognize the 2 of them that are here. We're joined this evening by Evan Blasky and Joseph Aste. Gentlemen, please come up. If you guys want to come to the podium for a second, if you want to just quickly give us what your lasting, the last badge that you earned, the project that you did to earn this honor.
Well, mine was actually getting emergency preparedness.
And you're Evan, right?
Yes. And it was, I'd say, very tough, but it takes a lot of determination to get an Eagle required badge. It's worth it at the end, but I truly felt like I learned something and feel safe for knowing stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joseph Aste, and the last badge I earned was the Camping Man badge, which is a pretty, honestly, a basic one for the scouting, considering when most people think of scouting, they think of camping. But what I learned most of it from it was building relationships with people. The friendships you make along the way make it way more fun and make it achievable, unlike doing it by yourself. So,
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Congratulations. Moving on, we have one more, 2.3. We have a presentation by Lowell High School students about mold matters. The teacher we have here this evening is Ralph St. Louis. Mr. St. Louis, are you here? Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for welcoming my class from Lowell High School. My name is Ralph St. Louis. I teach biology, chemistry, and a brand new class called Social Justice and Ethics in STEM. My students today are going to be sharing with you an action research project that they've been working on that they really think it's important and it's an imperative to have the City Council address. So I'm going to hand it off to them and let them take the rest of the conversation.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak tonight. We are students from Lowell High School, and we're here to focus on a critical issue that has persisted in our community for nearly 2 decades: the mold crisis at Pawtucket Elementary School. The issue is not new. Despite years of temporary fixes and several financial causes, the problem remains unresolved, leaving students, teachers, and staffs at risk. As a public high school, maintaining a safe and healthy environment is not just a moral obligation, it's the city's responsibility. Experts we consulted with empathize that the current inspections and remediation efforts are incomplete. Mold testing must be holistic, going beyond air quality to include surface levels. Mold testing must be holistic, going beyond air quality to include surface level testing and other advanced methods. Without addressing the root cause of mold, like excessive moisture and outdated HVAC system, the problem will continue to affect the health, education, and safety of our community.
Thank you. The mold problem at Pawtucket Memorial Elementary School has been ongoing for over a decade, with initial reports dating back to 2012. Despite spending over $1 million on remediation efforts, including HVAC upgrades and plans for a new roof, these measures have only provided temporary relief. If you look at the last page of our report, you will find photos of the mold issues in our school. Just this past August, mold-related delays disrupted the school year. Teachers and students returned to unsafe conditions after only minimal cleanup efforts. The lack of comprehensive solutions over the years is impacting students' learning and health, with mold continuing to grow due to excessive moisture in under-maintained buildings.
Mold exposure is a serious health issue impacting both physical and mental well-being. We spoke to medical mold experts, and they shared how even low levels can cause respiratory issues, immune problems, and illnesses. Imagine your students coming home from school and spreading it. It's a community health issue. One expert said that the current tests that are completed once a month are incomplete and recommended mold inspection dogs for better accuracy because air sampling and visual inspection is just not enough. They were tempted to say that we're wasting on money on current reports.
As a public school, it is the city's responsibility to ensure that facilities are safe and healthy for students, teachers, and staff. Temporary fixes and incomplete inspections have failed to address the root cause of the mold, allowing the problem to continue impacting students and families. The city has a responsibility to help find a permanent solution to avoid increasing maintenance costs and health impact. After 2 decades of advocacy by many people, it's time for the community to see transparent and accountable progress on this issue.
We have 4 recommendations to share with you tonight. Number 1, conduct comprehensive mold testing, including surface level inspections and advanced methods like mold inspection dogs to identify hidden contamination. Number 2, establish a public dashboard to provide regular updates on mold remediation and HVAC upgrades, ensuring transparency. Number 3, prioritize sustainable investments, including replacing the HVAC system and installing a new roof to eliminate moisture issues at the source. And finally, number 4, provide facility staff with professional training on advanced mold prevention and remediation techniques to maintain a safe environment.
Teachers, parents, and students have raised their voices for years, calling for change. Now it's up to you to act. We urge the City Council to take meaningful steps to implement these recommendations and ensure that every child in Lowell has access to a safe and healthy school environment. We urge the City Council to make a commitment tonight on this issue. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much. Thank you. If we could just have Evan and Joe, before you guys leave, to take a picture. I'm sorry, I skipped that before we went on. Want to say something? Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was actually reading some of this report that the students put together, and this is, I must say, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic at all, this is pretty good. This is a lot of facts here that you can tell they've done their homework. And speaking as a parent of a teacher who teaches at the Pawtucket Memorial School, everything in this report is accurate. And I want to thank you for your comprehensive report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Awesome. Good. Council, get you good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with everything that was said. I think it's important that we maintain our buildings and facilities the way that they should be. If you look after the August of 2018, there's a 5-year difference in there from their own write-up, and you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 things that have been going on, and we have been pushing the manager and his staff to get to these things, and we will continue to do that, and we'll make sure that these testings are done for you. Thank you.
Council Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was very impressed to hear the students come all the way up here to voice their concern. They did a tremendous job, but I'm disappointed to know that they had to come up here in the first place. I remember when we all, as a council, went to that school and we heard all the complaints then from parents, from teachers, from students, from everyone, and yet we assumed that this condition, this problem would be corrected. I know firsthand about mold. There were people in the police department that came to me with their mold problem, and I said, oh my God, imagine working under these conditions. Imagine going to school every day and you're taking your life, your health in your hands. It's not acceptable. That's why I really feel bad that they had to come all the way down here, because I thought, I know the problem was being addressed, but it hasn't been corrected. So it's like putting a Band-Aid on a severed artery. I think this is completely sad, but I want to commend the students and the teacher for leading them here to do this. I'm very, very impressed. I was hoping that they would be coming here inviting us to some play or something. I'm sad that it had to be in this atmosphere, but great job, and I'm very proud of you. You did a tremendous job. Thank you so much.
Council Noon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Exceptional report based on a lot of facts that happened or took place at the school. I totally agree with the student, with everyone, that learning will not take place when teachers, administrators, and students doesn't feel safe in the environment that they're in. Learning can only take places if they feel safe. So that's at least we could do is to address the issues. And I know that the administration has been, and we do request that the administration do an ongoing updated monitors, not just Pawtucket school, but every other school, because it's our responsibility to making sure that it's safe for the student, the parents, and the administrators, and the like. Thank you.
Councilor Robertson?
Thank you. I just want to first thank, as my colleague said, the students and the teacher for demonstrating that if something's wrong, advocate. Come down here and speak up and let us know. And that's what this chamber is designed for. That's how our local government works. And I really thank you for bringing that to our attention, although we've been aware. This issue of air testing and mold, and I think it was really brought to light during the COVID problem, the quality air testing. And I know there was safeguards that were supposedly put in place during that time. So I know we're dealing with it in-house, as well as we've been doing major upgrades on a lot of HVAC systems. But what are we doing for routine testing? Is that something that's occurring in-house, or is that something that we're actually contracting that service out? And if it's contracted out, what is this we hear of the students' recommendations with people that they've been talking to about bringing in, was it a mold dog or something that they referred to? I mean, is there companies local that do this kind of extensive testing?
Mr. Manager? Yep. Ms. Golden?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Manager, and Council. So they're doing the monthly air quality testing in the classrooms. So I actually got the test results from Ricky Underwood today. So they do 50 air quality test results.
Through you, Mr.
What were the
Mayor.
results? There was one room, which is a 12 by 15 room, that was above the outdoor results. So all the 49 of the results were, so what happens is there's no normal results. So you have to take the outdoor and then the rest of them, and it has to be at or about the outdoor results. So one room was above.
I'm sure Mr. St. Louis told his class all the stuff the city's doing for the school.
Yeah, so the school department's doing it once a month. So it's been done once. They skipped a couple of months, but it was done in the summer, and then I believe we skipped a few months, and then there was one done in November, one done in December, and then we had January's done. We got the results today. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get back.
My question was, though, who's performing these tests? Is it done in-house or extra?
No, it's outside. It's not something that we can do. It has to be by a company that does it. Might be EFI. And then when we have the cleaning done, it's by an outside company. I think it's Mill City that does it. I'm not quite sure, because we can't do that kind of cleaning.
Thank you.
And we did do some surface cleaning last summer when mold was seen in the classrooms. I think it was Councilor Dakota. There were some 6 classrooms, I believe, that there was mold seen in, and there was surface testing done, strip testing, so surface testing, that they took the mold off and saw it in those 6 classrooms that were cleaned. So they were contained and then HEPA filtered and closed for, I believe it was 48 hours, and then retested.
Councilor Janess?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the students and Mr. St. Louis for your work to bring this to us, put this excellent report together. This is an issue that we've talked about here for several years now, trying to get this resolved, because we don't want to see Band-Aid fixes. We want to see it resolved, and we don't want the staff, the students, the faculty in the Pawtucket Memorial School to be dealing with this every year. So it's important to keep an eye on it, and I thank you for this report. And I'd like to make a motion to refer this report to the administration so that you can break it down, bring any recommendations back to us on the things we should be doing. I think there's a lot of good information here that the experts in the administration should take some time and digest. So I'll make that motion. Thank you.
Motion by Councilor Janess, second by
Second.
Councilor Rush. Councilor Dakota, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Golden, just to be clear, it was air quality. So you're telling, I'm not putting you on the spot, there is no mold at the Pawtucket Memorial School right now?
I don't know if there's mold, because I have not gone through to see if there's mold. Last year, what happened was there was visible mold in the building, and they did the strip where the professional came through and looked, and then they did the strip testing. This is air quality testing that picks up spores in the air.
Okay. So my concern here is, do we have our custodians at that school checking to see if there are any mold spores in the school?
I'm not sure. And I have not walked through the building to see if there's anything myself, to see if there's anything in the air or not. When there was last year when this was a problem, I called the state, because anybody can call the state, to have the state environmental protection, I forget what they're called now, they changed their name so many times. I had them come through and do a full day in the school, nuts and bolts, look through everything. They looked through all the vents, they looked through everything, they went in through the heating system, they went through everything, and anybody can go on the webpage on mass.gov and look at the full report, which I believe is 80 pages, and they gave short-term recommendations and long-term recommendations. And they went through with the custodians, with our facilities, with the facilities from the school department, and talked to them about what to look for water damage, and gave recommendations.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the city manager, are we getting any type of reports from Mr. Underwood or Mr. Leahy concerning any mold spores at all on any of these walls in in classrooms or in hallways?
Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, the mold testing that we do is what Ms. Golden has talked about, but is my understanding that Mr. Underwood, as well as Mr. St. Cyr, they've informed the custodians what to be looking for. So at this point right now, as of the test that was just that Ms. Golden just spoke about, I would never say that there's not mold any place, but the custodians are aware of what they should be looking for. I hope that answers what you're looking for.
That was a safe answer. Thank you.
Councilor Yam?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank the student who came out here to tell us the issue with the school. And this is the lesson in civic engagement. And then I want you to continue your advocacy or even after high school. And hopefully one day you run for offices and sit right where I'm sitting as a city councilor representing your neighborhood, your city. Thank you again for coming out to speak to us in such a cold night.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So sorry. Just two quick points that my students were able to. Just two quick points that my students were able to identify in their reports. One being, one of our recommendations was to expand on the current facilities training. I believe last year we show it in our timeline that Lowell Public Schools spent $35,000 to train their facilities staff in mold remediation and strategies. So we would like to see that expanded and seeing how that can be impacted across the school district, because Pawtucket Memorial is not the only old school. And the second thing that I want to mention as it relates to the efficacy of the mold inspection report is that the students, as they interviewed the mold experts, they reviewed the latest mold report that we got directly from Superintendent Skinner, that the report was not holistic in the sense of getting only air quality reports is not sufficient to understand what mold is. Air quality reports and visual testing is not sufficient to understand how much mold is hidden from regular sight. So that's something that we have to expand on in the testing as it is right now.
Thank you. Sure. Councilor Robinson, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you to the city manager, I think this is another example that kind of demonstrates without a centralized facility situation, it's tough because custodians fall school side, they're responsible for the cleanliness, and now it's almost like in some instances the right hand doesn't know what the left's doing. Yes, we do get some reports back, it seems like, but there's really no true sense of responsibility for the custodians to be keeping an eye on some of the issues that we're responsible for. And so I mean, I think we really have to continue looking at that for the future, a consolidated facilities department. Thank you.
Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question through you to the manager. This is back to my school committee days. This has been an issue with Pawtucket Memorial with mold. At the time, they always said that it was a problem with the roof, the way the roof meets there. Where are we as far as making permanent repairs? Are we?
Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. We did speak with the MSBA just last week in regards to, we obviously have a major project going on right now at Lowell High School. Myself, Mr. Ball, and some of the team were there asking if it would be possible for us to yet apply for other MSBA projects. We weren't told we couldn't, but given the fact of where we are right now at the high school, it may or may not happen. But we're going to move forward with other opportunities to get to other MSBA projects, knowing that they have financial constraints as well. But we're still going to put it into hopefully get on board once we're completed in 2026 for the high school project.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask. I was just curious whether or not we were even eligible at this point in time to move forward with the pipeline with the MSBA, and obviously it would be my suggestion that we don't really have a choice. I think that we try to move forward with this as soon as possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. I can assure the speakers that we have been pushing for training for our staff. Multiple motions have been filed trying to figure out how much training has gone on in that department. So over the last couple of years, we're also trying to push, at least this city council has been trying to push for a facilities department that would give them more recognition and training, and it would become more professional than it is currently now. It's 50 years worth of issues that the manager got dropped right on his plate, and we're trying to figure out, okay, there's unions involved, there's all kinds of moving pieces, but we assure you we're pushing for that, and we're going to try to keep pushing for that. And the training pieces, from HVAC systems to plumbing to the latest of everything, we need more training, and we agree with you on that, and we have been pushing that for the last year. So hopefully we see more of that coming, and our staff opens up to that, but there's no guarantees, because sometimes the union atmosphere is a little bit tougher to manage through, but we'll get there.
Anything else? Thank you very much. Thank you. If we can have Evan and Joe come on up, please. Moving on to Section 3, City Clerk, 3.1, minutes of the Environmental and Flood Issues Subcommittee, January 14th. City Council regular meeting, January 14th for acceptance. Motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Gitja, second by Councilor Janess. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4, City Council motions. 4.1, Councilor Gitja. Request City Manager have Transportation Engineer work with the state to restrict parking between Tyler Park and Florence Avenue.
Second.
And Westford Street inbound, second by Councilor Noon. Madam Clerk.
The speaker. Robert Hunt.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. Manager, and staff. My name is Robert Hunt. I live at 48 Florence Avenue, and I've lived there for 47 years. And I've seen many accidents at the junction of Florence and Westford. With the proposed changes to the parcel of land at 684 Westford, as you may know, the former American Legion, into a mini development of 4 single-family homes and a large duplex, the sight line looking west onto Westford Street is going to change drastically. And as the former American Legion had a 60 to 70 car parking lot, there was never really a need for people to park on the eastbound side of Westford Street. But with one of the pieces of the new houses being less than 9 feet away from the corner of Florence and Westford, that sight line will be very treacherous. Before someone gets seriously hurt or killed by someone parking on the eastbound side of Westford Street, it would make sense to not allow parking from Tyler to Florence. This discussion was brought up at the Highlands Neighborhood Association. I spoke with Captain Damaris. He also agreed, and he also told me that when we had a precinct at the Brady building or the Brady School, his officers would complain about it on a regular basis with that bend in the road. So I would hope that you could send it to the engineer, and when it comes back, you could make it so there's no parking on that side. Thank you.
Councilor Getcha?
Thank you, Mayor O'Rourke. I think Mr. Hunt summed it up perfectly. This is just about being proactive rather than reactive to a situation that could arise from this. I know we've lost people on that corner before, so it's something that we just trying to be proactive for. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion to pass. Oh,
I just want to voice my support for this motion. I appreciate Councilor Kitchen put this motion up. And thank you, Mr. Hunt, for speaking on this matter. He's the president of the Friends of Tyler Park. In addition to the parking issues, especially during the summer, there are many pedestrians that go to the park events. So having, the cars parked on the street, blocking the line of sight, it's a public safety issues. I just want to support that. Thank you, Councilor Kitchen, put this on a motion.
all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion to pass. 4.2 and 4.3 have been withdrawn. We do have a public speaker that has registered to speak on both the motions. Mr. McCauley, my guess is that these motions will be on next week's agenda, but they were withdrawn for this week's agenda. So if you'd like, we can register you now. Once the agenda comes out next week, if the motions are back there again, you can please register and speak on it. But we apologize for you coming down here, but the two motions have been withdrawn. Sorry. And good to see you again.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5, communications from the city manager. 5.1, motion for responses. A. Councilor Gitche, you want to try this one for me? Rodenticide ordinance. Councilor Gitche.
Thank you, Mayor O'Rourke. I can't thank the health department enough for pushing this forward. Our city solicitor also for getting this done as fast as he did. It's important for us to understand what this stuff does to our wildlife, and hopefully in 2 weeks we can also get this passed. So I thank you again for doing this as fast as you did, Mr. Solicitor, and also to the health board, the Board of Health, for unanimously voting in favor of banning that. So thank you again.
Anything else? Thank you, Councilor. B, South Carolina Outreach. Councilor Gitche.
Thank you, Mayor O'Rourke. Thank you to everyone involved, the police, the manager's office. I can't thank you enough. It's nice to see people sledding in that area again and families using it for what it was intended for. It's important that we try to get, in this weather, people help and try to get them inside. And I think that that's the important piece for all of us, is to try to get people help and get them in. So thank you again, Mr. Manager, to your administration and to the police department, the health department, and everybody who is involved. Thank you.
Councilor Belanger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo Councilor Gitche's comments. I've been going by there frequently since it was last discussed here on the floor, and I am extremely pleased to the progress that's gone on at this location. I think I've seen one encampment, and then it was removed the next day in the last 60 to 90 days. So very pleased. Mr. Manager, I want to thank you and your administration, the Lowell Police, and a glorious co-op team, which is the outreach team. And what's most impressive to me is they sort of staggered the hours into evening shifts as well, because homelessness is not a 9 to 5 issue, as we all know. So I think that really, really helped out. So I think that's something we learn from and use in the future. But again, very happy, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I'd like to echo my colleagues' comments. I've had people reach out and just basically say thank you for giving the park back to the public. It's being used, and hopefully we can keep these efforts going, especially when the nice weather gets here, because we know that that's a challenging time down in that area. But so far, thank you to everyone involved. I know it's been a long, painstaking process, but I think we're getting to see the results that the public are generally happy with. Thank you.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to join everyone and say that thank you, Mr. Managers, LPD, and everyone out involved for give this park back to community. So South Common is back in business. Thank you.
Motion response C, Remington Street and Garden Road paving. Councilor Belanger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I do appreciate the report. I will discuss next steps with the traffic engineer, but the report is duly noted. Thank you very much, Mr. Manager.
Motion response D, letter to Secretary Augustus regarding sewer or water tie-in. Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rook. Again, thank you to the manager and his staff for the amazing, well-written letter you sent through you, Mr. Mayor, to City Manager Golden. Would you have any comments on this? Did they get back to you or anything?
Mr. Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. May, through the council. Yes, Councilor, I did have an opportunity to text back and forth with the secretary, and it was never their intent, after we sent this, of course, it was never their intent to have that happen. They were just suggesting of possible ways to make that happen, and quite frankly agreed with where we were coming from. It might be far too onerous financially for the ratepayer. But however, it did recognize from the secretary's standpoint the amount of work that they've been doing with the assistant city manager here, and very happy with what could happen here in the city of Lowell. So it was a good positive back and forth. So, but thank you very much for putting that forward, and that doesn't appear to be happening as a mandate, if you would.
If you could just thank him on behalf of the council. Thanks.
Motion response E, Pawtucket Street paving. Councilor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is a very busy intersection, especially during the rush hour. I just have a quick question for Ms. Chang, if she doesn't mind. The report says something about the traffic improvement project that's starting from Aiken Street always to and ended at Wilder Street, connecting UMass Lowell East and South Campus. What does that mean? Because Aiken Street, I know, is ended where Merrimack Street is. So I'll try to figure out what you mean by that.
Yeah, good evening. So Pawtucket Street is actually where the Aiken Street, Perkins Street, and the intersection, that four-way intersection, Pawtucket Street stop right at that intersection. So it's where that portion of the Pawtucket Street and go all the way down to Wilder.
Okay, Pawtucket Street and go all the way to Wilder Street.
Correct.
Is that so going to be part of the big project that's coming up?
Yeah, so this is part of the TIF, the project been on the TIF with NEMCOT and MassDOT. Preliminary was done, pre-25% was completed. Right now, we're looking for funding, potential working with UMass Lowell to move forward with the 25% designs.
Thank you for the report, and hopefully people who are watching at home who have the question about that intersection will hear your explanation and the motion response as well. Thank you again.
Motion response F, water infrastructure, Rourke Bridge. Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Thank you for the response to the Executive Director of the Water Department and the Manager's Office. Very well put together, and we look forward to having some redundancy in the Highlands with our water line. We've been like on here end for a long time, so thank you.
Motion response G, Aiken Street Bridge Maintenance Plan. Councilor Getchia.
This is perfect. This is what we looked for a year and a half ago when we put this out. We was trying to get some capital planning on this stuff and try to get this stuff addressed. Manager Golden, again, this is the capital planning that we should foresee in the future for the city. We got the Hunts Fall Bridge Rotary that if we can get in touch with the state and just ask them what their plan is on that, because that has a lot of potholes in it. I can make that motion next week. Yeah.
You want to do it now?
I can make it now. Motion to have the manager just ask the state what their plans are for the Hunts Falls Rotary. Yeah, thank you.
Seconded by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just make a comment on that, I'd just like to thank Councilor Getchia, and I'd like to thank Mr. St. Cyr, Ting, and Mr. Golden. It's, as you're well aware, you travel Aiken at least twice a day, more like 20 probably, but that's something that a lot of residents also were concerned about. The deck was starting to really wear in. There was some bars where they came across that I'm sure the plows were catching routinely, so this is great news, and I thank my colleague for putting this forward. Thank you.
Motion response H, Barica and Bolton Street Culvert. Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very grateful to see this response, that this is finally moving forward. I just have a question about the timeline for spring of 2026. A few people had concerns about how long it was to have the culvert replaced. So maybe if we could just hear a little more from the engineer on the timeline on this, when it's going out to bid.
Manager, is that going to you, or what are we doing?
I apologize. What was the question? I got distracted.
The timeline about the 2026 for the culvert replacement. I had a few people just asking why it was going to take over a year to put it out.
So this particular project, we actually apply grants for it. That's why I delayed a little bit. We applied back in 2023. We applied for a small bridge grant to repair, even though it's a culvert, because of the size, it's classified as a bridge. We applied for it. Unfortunately, we didn't get the grant. So we move forward with, when we get the on-call engineering on board, we got kickoff when we get their recommendations. And they have come back, say that's need to be replaced. So currently, we actually just selected the selected the engineer already. So we're in the contract processing right now. We expect this particular contract is combined with the Stockbridge Ave as well. There's two Stockbridge culverts. We expect that hopefully we'll be able to take off the design process soon, and when the contract's signed, the permitting process itself is probably going to take 6 to 9 months. So we're thinking that with designs and permitting will be completed this year, and bids going out hopefully at the end of the year, and with hopefully spring of 2026 constructions.
Okay, so it's a permitting process that takes quite a bit of time, and I guess that's what's maybe not understood by some that were.
Yes, it's Mass Chapter 85. Because it's bridge is a culvert, we also need to do alternative study to see, because it's broke, it's a stream, so they have to go in to see is that a culvert with bottomless to allow creatures to crawl through. We have to go through that process in order to move to the next step.
Thank you. Thank you for helping to understand that. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. In the community I work in, I know we've been dealing with similar situations on culverts. But is there also a process that if it's a failure and it becomes an emergency situation, then it's streamlined, or they don't have such stringent requirements as far as like the bottomless for the environmental?
They always have to ask us to go through that process. When there's a DEP standards, they ask us to require. If it's emergency and there's no ways to retour the traffic, then it's maybe a different process that we can go through. But because this particular street, it's not very high volumes, and there is a lot of residential with somewhat a dead end, it turns so it's not a high priority for them. So we have to go through that process.
Thank you very much.
Need a motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Janes, second by Councilor Yam. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.2, communication, the appointment of Eric Nelson to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board. Motion to adopt by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Noon. Roll call.
Councilor Dakota?
Yes.
Councilor Getchia? Councilor Janes?
Yes.
Councilor Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Nunn?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Councilor Scott?
Yes.
Councilor Yam?
Yes.
Councilor Belanger?
Yes.
Councilor Chow?
Yes.
5.3, communication, resignation of Carrie Janes from the Historic Board. Need a motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Noon, second by Councilor Yam. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.6, votes from the city manager. 6.1, vote to accept and expend $800,000 bridge investment project planning grant. With the full reading and second reading by title. Need a motion to adopt by Councilor Scott, second by Councilor Getchia. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilor Dakota?
Yes.
Councilor Getchia?
Yes.
Councilor Janes?
Yes.
Councilor Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Nunn?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Councilor Scott?
Yes.
Councilor Yam?
Yes.
Councilor Belanger?
Yes.
Councilor Chow?
Yes.
6.2, vote to authorize city manager to exercise a license agreement with Lowell Festival Foundation with a full reading and second reading by title. Need a motion to adopt by Councilor Dakota, second by Councilor Belanger. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilor Dakota?
Yes.
Councilor Getchia?
Yes.
Councilor Janes?
Yes.
Councilor Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Nunn?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Councilor Scott?
Yes.
Councilor Yam?
Yes.
Councilor Belanger?
Yes.
Councilor Chow?
Yes.
Ordinance of the city manager, section 7, 7.1, ordinance to amend chapter 104 with that decide. Given first reading, motion to refer a public hearing on February 4th, 2025 by Councilor Gitche, second by Councilor Janess. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 8, reports, subcommittees. 8.1, Environmental and Flood Issues Subcommittee, January 14th, 2025. Councilor Belanger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The Environmental and Flood Issue Subcommittee met on January 14th, 2025, last Tuesday at 5:30. Present were myself, Chairman, Councilor Robinson, Councilor Yem, and DPD Sustainability Director Catherine Moses. Ms. Moses provided presentation regarding the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness MVP and Hazard Mitigation Plan, providing a history of the development of these plans. These plans were developed to address challenges and prioritize them, and were integrated with each other. Such challenges were identified, such as flooding, extreme temperatures, known as heat islands, extreme winter weather, and wind microbursts. Ms. Moses commented on the community partners and input from experts in the respected fields, especially flooding and storm management, which seems to be the tops of scales within the city limits. Ms. Moses noted development plans enabled many green opportunities and outlined the various grants available. Now, grants that have been received are such a Clay Pit Brook Stormwater Management Capital Plan, Urban Forest Master Plan, St. Louis Sponge Park, Technical Assistance for FEMA's Building Resilient Infrastructure in Communities, known as BRIC, is the acronym, to help design a competitive, resilient project around green infrastructure for flood mitigation. Ms. Moses described the use of the date to address current and future uses. Ms. Moses indicated that all ideas are welcome and commented on resurfacing and coverage programs for outdoor recreation. Ms. Moses also highlighted the many beneficial programs through Mass Save and the City of Lowell. Now, what's very important is that, there's many great opportunistic programs for the City of Lowell residents to take advantage of. Those interested in any sort of weatherization should reach out to Victor Vargas, Lowell's energy advocate at the City of Lowell, 978-674-1408. Victor can provide comprehensive solutions for energy challenges. Energy bill checkups to screen for eligibility for municipal aggregation, utility discount rates, fuel assistance, aggregate management and bill forgiveness, help to sign people up for the Mass Save Energy Efficient Program, make referrals to Lowell Home Modernization Navigator to help provide and advise and assistance on decarbonization activities. These are many great programs that the city has to offer. I have personally a friend who got his home entirely insulated for less than $1,000, and it was a $5,000 job. So please, I urge the residents of Lowell, we have great energy assistance programs for you to take advantage of, and I would advise you apply for a home energy audit, which will help identify those deficiencies you may have in your home and grants that you may be entitled to. So it was a great meeting, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Belanger. The motion to accept the motion report of progress by Councilor Janessa and by Councilor Dakota. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 9 petitions. We have 4 of them. 9.1, miscellaneous. Norma Von Ficken requests permission to address council regarding waste disposal. She submitted something. She didn't want to speak on it. 9.2, miscellaneous. Manuel Holman requests installation of a handicap parking sign of 19 South Whipple Street. 9.3, miscellaneous. Liza Navis requests installation of a handicap parking sign at 1105 Middlesex Street. And 9.4, also by Ms. Nieves, request installation of autism kids sign in the same area of 1105 Middlesex Street. Need a motion to refer to transportation engineer for report recommendation by Councilor Gitche, second by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motions pass. 10 announcements. Any announcements this evening?
Yes. I have an announcement, a very important announcement, because there is a city councilor that never forgets anybody else's birthday. And when I asked him when is his birthday, he said he didn't have one. So I found out that he does have one, and it's on the 25th of January. So we all signed a card for you. Happy birthday, Paul Rathayem.
Thank you, Counselor. It was unlisted, but you found it.
Unlisted. You look great for 75, Paul. You look great.
Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In light of the Eagle Scout presentation earlier, I'd just like to note that one of the other young men, whose name unfortunately I didn't get, he's doing a spaghetti dinner fundraiser for his project that will be held at the St. Michael's Church Hall on Saturday, February 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. His project is to plant 2 American fringe trees and installs 4 benches and some flower beds all around St. Michael's Church. So he's hoping to get a good turnout and raise some funds to be able to do that. So once again, that's Saturday, February 22nd, 5 to 7 p.m. at St. Michael's Church Hall.
I'd just like to add that gentleman's name is Michael Asti, and he's working towards his Eagle Scout, so this is part of his project.
Thank you.
Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the manager and his team, I just want to thank our DPW staff who went out during the snowstorm to treat the road, and they were out, past midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And thank you again for getting out today to salt the road, preventing from freezing. Thank you again, Mr. Manager. Please pass our grateful thank you to the staff. Thank you.
Ms. Byers-Rose, wrap it up.
I just want to announce that this Saturday, January 25th, from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Lincoln School, DPD is going to be hosting an open house for community discussions related to the Durkin Park improvement. So we're going to give folks the opportunity to meet with the landscape architects, talk about the new plan for the park itself, and ask people to actually vote and help us determine what the final color scheme will be for the park equipment. So we're hoping people can come out. Again, it's at the Lincoln School, 300 Chelmsford Street, this Saturday from 11 to 2.
Motion to adjourn by Councilor Gitcha, seconded by Councilor Chow. Good evening.